All right, next to join us on stage is Margot from Transform, or you might know her better as Bitcoin Queen, and she's going to be talking about some of the success and a beginner's guide to ICOs. So, welcome, Margot.
Wow, you guys are here early. You must really want to get rich quick. Just kidding. It's actually not that easy to do a token sale. So my name's Margot Avedisian. I relaunched the first American Bitcoin exchange in 2012 called TradeHill, and I co-founded a couple other companies that are in the blockchain space and still around. One is AlphaPoint, the other is Monetigo. I also helped organize the first Bitcoin Education Day on Capitol Hill in DC with the Chamber of Digital Commerce. And in 2013, people started writing, calling me Queen of Bitcoin or Bitcoin Queen. I almost started mining in 2011. Almost, so I don't really have the purse of a queen. I've been in this space ever since, and now I am VP at Transform Group, and we are a PR company specializing in blockchain companies and token sales. We've represented over 100 blockchain companies since early 2013. Transform was started by Michael Turpin. He also is a founder of BitAngels and has done a bunch of stuff. And we've represented over 30 token sales, including Ethereum, Augur, MadeSafe, Quantum, Gnosis, Golem, a bunch of them. And we have a client right now called OneGram, and they're probably going to be the largest ICO. They're the first Sharia-compliant gold-backed digital currency, and they plan on raising $500 million, and they have an agreement with a bank to sell 200 million of that. So we might be adding that to our list of rule breakers, not regulation rules, just in terms of how large the token sales are. So who's heard of a token sale here? Everyone? Yeah, a few of you? Okay. And is anyone planning on doing a token sale or is doing one? Okay, one person, two, cool. Well, maybe after this you'll want to do one. It's really not that easy. First of all, I'm not going to use the term ICO, which is pretty common because it's not really regulation friendly. The US does not like it. It's too similar to IPO. And for the most part, you're not selling a security, you're selling digital tokens in advance to raise money for your company. Of course, there are some exceptions, like Blockchain Capital, Brock Pierce. He just launched the first VC fund that had a token sale, and they limited it to only accredited investors. But really, you are not selling a piece of your company, you're selling a digital token that has some sort of use. It's the gasoline, it's whatever needed to use your protocol, or your dApp, or your app, or whatever it is that you're building. Ethereum, I'm sure everyone's heard of that. They raised $18 million in 2014. I just looked at the price. Their token's now worth around $90. Pretty good investment if you bought it for 3 cents a few years ago. Golem, they raised $8.6 million in under 30 minutes. They're the Airbnb of computing power. Quantum, which is a new blockchain, they combine the best of Bitcoin and Ethereum. They raised $15.6 million in around 3 days. It probably would have been faster, but they listed only on Chinese exchanges, and they're getting DDoSed. And some of you may have heard of Gnosis. This was a pretty insane token sale. They sold out in 12 minutes and reached their cap of $12.5 million, and one token was worth $30. So it was the most expensive token in a sale. And they listed on exchange, and last I looked, they were trading for more than double, which is pretty crazy. And they sold less than 5% of their tokens. There's a couple reasons, very kind of the hot ICO to invest in, which I'll get to, but they're kind of the exception to the rule. And they did something called a Dutch auction, which I personally wouldn't really recommend, but they were really popular, so it kind of worked for them. So if you do want to do a token sale, you need to have a reason why you're creating what you are. because it really isn't about getting rich quickly. People will totally suss that out. There's a lot of scrutiny that goes into token sales. You need to figure out, what are you doing that the world needs? How are you really disrupting an industry? Why do we need this new blockchain protocol or DApp or app? So definitely have some sort of purpose behind there. And the focus really shouldn't just be raising money. Once you have this money, you're going to need people to hire, or you're going to need people to want to use your protocol, and also have developers build on top of it. So one of the first things you need to figure out too is, are you building a blockchain from scratch? Or are you building on top of a platform like Eternity or Ethereum or Quantum? He just mentioned private blockchains and scalability. Well, Eternity is a new blockchain, and they do a lot of things on state channels, so they are scalable. So there may be options out there that already exist, opposed to reinventing the wheel. And then you need to figure out, what is your token going to be. ERC20 tokens are pretty popular. You can just find the code online. And you need to think about, is this going to be easy to list on an exchange? If you have something too complicated, then for the most part, they're not going to list you, or it'll take a really long time for them to figure out the tech to list on an exchange. And as I mentioned before, there's a bigger picture here than just trying to raise money. And so there's a lot of transparency involved. People are going to be really looking into your background. Who are you? What makes you the person to create whatever it is? So there's definitely going to be a lot of looking into, who are you? Are you just some finance person that's really into blockchain and wants to make something? Maybe if you're headed the SEC, that will come across as a lot of faith behind you then. As I mentioned, Eternity, the founder of that, Yanni, he is considered the godfather of Ethereum. He was kind of at the advent of that and the co-founder of the Dark Wallet. So from his background, you can tell he kind of has the technical chops to create a blockchain from scratch. And your advisors are really, really important. They lend a name for people to have faith in you, kind of vouching for you. It's easier to get press if you have well-known people behind you. You definitely also want to use them to look at what you're doing and make sure that it is going to work out. There's a company called Matchpool, they're a decentralized dating app, and one of their advisors is Gavin Wood, Dr. Gavin Wood, who's a founder of Ethereum and a pretty good person, technically wise, to have on your advisory board. And they also have the co-founder of JDate and the former head of international communications of Tinder. So they're kind of combining this blockchain technical world and this online dating app world, and they have the kind of advisors to back that up. And then technology is obviously really important. If people are going to be looking at your code, and there is that level of transparency, and you're going to need to create a white paper, which is basically going to have all the details of everything that you're doing. It's going to talk about the tech. It's going to talk about the percentage of what you're going to do with the money, who's on your advisory board, how many tokens you're selling. It's pretty much the business plan for a token sale. And you're probably going to have multiple versions. You're going to want people to look over this. And an orange paper is more consumer friendly, but you're definitely going to have to do this. Of course, there's a caveat. There's a company called the Legends Room, and they are a strip club in Las Vegas that has its own token called LGD tokens, and it's just kind of out-of-the-box tokens, and you can, if you have a certain amount, you have a VIP membership, or you can use the token in their club to buy drinks, lap dances, but you don't really need a white paper for that. You just need to put the details on. But for the most part, you're going to want to have this white paper. People are going to really look through it before they're buying your tokens. And you really can't escape regulation. You're definitely going to need lawyers, and lawyers who have been in the space for a while. There definitely are, and they're pretty well known within the community. If you just go to a lawyer that doesn't really have any experience with it, one, they'll probably be really expensive, and two, they'll probably tell you not to do this. So you want to go to people who actually have been doing token sales and in cryptocurrency. And you really can't escape this. Like, you really need to protect yourself because you can get in trouble. Like, you can go to prison. So definitely figure out what the regulation is and where you want to incorporate. There are some friendly jurisdictions, Switzerland, that's where Ethereum and a few other token sales. Gibraltar is a new one. Singapore. Liechtenstein is now becoming a really popular one. They're really friendly. I know some New Zealand officials are here. Maybe New Zealand will become a cryptocurrency hub. We'll see. But yeah, this is something you need to do. A lot of token sales, or not a lot of them, but there are many that block US customers from buying their tokens to protect them regulation-wise. Okay, so then when you get into the details, picking a date, don't pick a date during a holiday. Figure out how long do you want the crowd sale to be. Not everyone sells out in 12 minutes, so you need to think about how long the time is going to be. And if there are any holidays, a lot of reporters take off during the spring, during spring break. And so really kind of try to plan around not doing it when everyone's gone. If you want a big ICO investor who goes to Burning Man, probably don't want to do it last week of August. There are a bunch of those. So just keep in mind when you're picking the date and also time zones and figure out, what works, what doesn't for everybody. And so, and how long you want the sale. It depends on if you have a cap or not. And so the tokens, where are people sending money to? Do you have a wallet on your site? You could pretty much find the code for that, but definitely have it looked at and have some sort of technical background, because that'd be pretty terrible if all these people sent you money and it was stolen, having another DAO situation. Or you can list on an exchange. Bittrex is a really popular exchange. They have their own kind of rules. So we kind of recommend not launching on an exchange right after you sell your tokens. We've seen the longer you wait to put it on an exchange, the better the price. For Gnosis, that was not the case. There's definitely exceptions, but it's kind of what we recommend. But if you're using an exchange, they're going to want you to list it right away. And how many tokens did you create? How many tokens are you going to sell? I recommend an easy number, like 10 million opposed to 15.3 million, something that's easy to do the math for. And are you selling a certain amount of tokens, or are you selling until you reach a cap? Are you putting a cap on? Are you only going to raise a certain amount of money? And what is the price going to be? When people peg it to another cryptocurrency like Ether, that can get a little tricky, because if the price starts going through the roof, then it's not really fair to people who bought in earlier. And do you want to do a bonus or bounties? So usually people will do like a power hour. We recommend a day because of time zones, and so you get more tokens the earlier you buy. And then some people have bounty programs. If you bring people and that put money into the token sale, then you're rewarded. And payment, what payments are you accepting? Is it just going to be Ether? Is it Ether and Bitcoin? Are you accepting USD? There are some brokers who will collect USD for you and then kind of put in all that money in the beginning and then farm it out to the people who put in the USD. I mean, it's up to you what you want to do. And then when do people get their tokens? It's usually not right away. And when are you going to start trading? And key management is really important. So that basically means that not just one person can move the money. You need a couple people to sign off on that. And really a lot of what you're doing, and you have to be pretty transparent because you want people to send you money and cryptocurrency. So people are going to be looking at, is this money moving? And what are your policies regarding that? You don't want someone to say the CEO is running off with the money everyone just sent because he's the only person, or she is the only person who has access to the wallet. So that's definitely something to think about. A lot of what you're doing is kind of preventing anyone saying that you're not above board, because that definitely is something people want to throw out there. Okay. Public relations is really important, and I'm not just saying that because I'm in PR. It really is a vital part of your token sale. If no one knows about it, then no one's going to be able to put money into it. And a little caveat, you do want to line up money before your token sale. The first hour is really important in terms of how much money comes in. If there's really not a lot, it could kill your token sale. So PR, it's really important to get crypto press, and crypto press is like Brave New Coin, CoinDesk, CoinIdol. There's a bunch of them out there, and a lot of them do not want to write about token sales. They don't want to pump up a coin and it be a scam. So it's actually pretty difficult to get crypto press now. A lot of people will say, "Oh, I know a crypto reporter." Well, it doesn't really work like that. It could be a little challenging, so kind of selling what your technology is doing, how you're disrupting things, the people involved, that's probably a better way to go. And you're going to need a press release with all the details of what you're doing. A lot of reporters complain to me about how terrible the press release is, so kind of look that up if you are not hiring a PR firm. And then mainstream press, this is really difficult to get. It's not impossible, but it's probably not going to be attracting so much new investors as well as really just kind of giving a vote of confidence to people who are already going to invest in you. It's also pretty cool to tell your mom you're in Forbes, so you kind of want to get mainstream press. But it's also kind of hard when you're doing a token sale. They like to write about once you raise a ridiculous amount of money in a short period of time. So social media, this is pretty much a given. Bitcoin talk, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit. What's really popular now are Slack, Telegram, Skype groups, where you get to actually interact with the people who potentially are investing in your token sale. They can ask questions, you can answer them, you can see kind of what the community is thinking. It helps you tailor your FAQ. So you're really going to be hands-on with all these people that are interested in you. They're probably going to also say some negative things. That's just how it is. But starting those groups is important. And there's also some ICO groups that you can join where people kind of go when they're looking for new crowd sales and posting about your crowd sale there and seeing what people think. And then also your blog. And your blog is for things that really aren't newsworthy, like your bounty program, just letting people know what's going on and kind of being as transparent as possible. This isn't like raising traditional money. You actually have to be really forthcoming with things that you wouldn't necessarily be if you're raising money in a more traditional way, because you have all these people that now feel part of what you're doing and want to know that you aren't stealing their money. So there's constant updates. The other thing is don't break your own news on your blog. That happens a lot. If you have something that's newsworthy, you want to try to get press before you're writing that on your blog, because then it's otherwise old news. And then a roadshow. Meeting people in person, it goes a long way. People can actually talk to you and see that you're not a scammer. And meetups are a good way to do that. And they're all over the world. There's a lot of crypto meetups. And my recommendation is don't lead that you're having a token sale because they also don't want to promote a coin. So lead with the technology part and what you're doing and how you want to change the world and how it's so revolutionary. And then conferences. Speaking at conferences is obviously the best. If you can't do that, even just going and meeting people who are interested in cryptocurrency and kind of telling them about what you're doing is really good. And there's a lot that goes into having a token sale, as you see, and you actually kind of need some money before you start off on this journey because things definitely do cost some money, especially if you want to hire us as a PR firm. But you do need money, and you do need to get out there in the community, and you want to get people excited because, as I mentioned before, it's not just about investing in a token sale or raising money with a token sale. It's about building some sort of protocol or dApp that you want people to use and you want people to build on. So the more information you get out there, the better. So thank you. If you guys have any questions, feel free to find me, or you can email me at margo@transform.pr. But I'll be around here today. Thank you.